If the Gita is there, focus only on Gita. All else is just stories. Gita is not a story. Gita is a philosophical document of the highest order. It is not storytelling. Which will always happen till the time you consider enlightenment as an experience. Which will always happen till the time you consider enlightenment as an experience. Now let me ask this. What does an experience require? An experiencer. You cannot have an experience without being somebody. And what can you always be? What can you ever be?
Any entity.
Some rubbish?
Yes.
So all experiences flow from? All experiences flow from?
Being rubbish to experience.
The one who is experiencing.
And who is it? Who is experiencing? A particular identity. A particular identity. So, enlightenment, how can an identity experience enlightenment? An identity will only experience what? Enlightenment, firstly, is not an experience.
It is not coming from past.
It cannot come from past. And that is why this question is a very revealing question. It very clearly says that those who have had this experience only become more and more egoistic and selfish and all that. Because now your ego has a wonderful tool. What does the ego say?
I am enlightened.
I am enlightened. And you listen to me. As if enlightenment is some label that you have on your chest. And
I am rarest of the rare.
I am rarest of the rare. I am constantly seeking. Now what do I seek? Now I seek followers. I seek listeners. Now I seek more and more publicity. I seek approval. God Himself. That's what the ego is, a constant seeking. Seeking is not a characteristic of virtue. It's the ego that always seeks. What he is talking of, if I may just speculate, is a moment of attention. But a moment of attention is something that we all, in any case, in our regular 24 hours, do come to have. But that is no big deal. That is the basic prerequisite for remaining sane. If even that does not happen, we'll die. We'll become mad, just go bonkers. So that is available to all of us. There is nothing special, extraordinary about having what he's calling as that enlightenment experience that we all of us have. It comes and goes. Even at this moment, if you are listening attentively, you are having that experience. That is nothing more than that. That's why Zen calls it a very ordinary thing, that it does not happen with the loud sounds of trumpets and drums and all those things. It's a very ordinary thing. Listening to something, watching the sunset, just sitting comfortably, and the air is all right, and there is no distraction. This is it.
I'm saying knowing, it is just knowing.
It is not knowing of the type that you know of, because for you, knowing is thinking.
That is coming from
You know that you are knowing only when you are thinking. This knowing that happens in that moment of attention is not that common knowing. When we claim that we are knowing, what are we actually doing? Thinking that we are knowing. And if we do not think, we find ourselves unable to claim that we know. What is beyond your thought, you will not even claim that you know. So it is not knowing of that kind. Again, something very, very ordinary, very simple. That enlightenment experience we all keep having. We all are Buddhas 5 or 6 times a day.
That means you accept every situation, at every minute of it. Then you will have no mental conflict.
No, not really accept. You are alive to it.
Right.
You may even reject, but then you are alive to the rejection as well. If you have a mind, and it's a very trained mind, some people have minds who are conditioned to accept everything. Now, what does the mind, if it's an intelligent mind, what does it need to do? It needs to be alive to the fact that what am I? Who am I?
I'm accepting everyone's.
I am acceptance. And this acceptance is not really my nature. Again, that's stepping into the danger zone. But that acceptance is not really my nature. It is my training. I have been trained to be tolerant. It's my conditioning. Conversely, there may be someone, and there are people who are branded rebels, who reject everything. For them, it's fashionable to just reject everything. Anything that comes their way, especially young people, they'll just reject. Now, that does not mean that they are seekers or inquirers or whatsoever. They just have been conditioned to reject. One has been conditioned to accept, the other has been. Now, an intelligent mind, in the moment of intelligence, will know that who am I? Right now, I am acting rebel, who is rejecting everything. And that is sufficient. You will no more be able to give energy to this fake rebellion if you know that you are just this. It happens on its own. You don't need to worry then. You just know. After that, what happens, just happens. Don't need to worry about the results.
But even to say I am not acceptance.
Don't say that. It's not at all needed. It's not at all needed. You say I am acceptance. And see how it feels, and wonderful.
To understand that I am acceptance
Is sufficient. It's sufficient.
Because other way around, it should be again ego.
See, there are 3 steps in the process, who am I? It can be 3 steps. One is, I say I am desire. Step 1. Step 2, I am desire, but my nature is not desire. I am not desire. Step 3, I am the unthinkable Brahman. Steps 2 and 3 both are mere imaginations. Redundant and dangerous steps. Step 1 is sufficient. Anybody who says go right till step 3, where you discover your own pristine nature, is just cock and bull story, Brahman. 1 is sufficient. Not even 2 is needed.
So suppose I realize that I am Peter, then means a certain reaction will be done that I am saying I will, whether I will go for it, I won't go for it. If I go for it, I will.
A third and a fourth and a fifth thing may also happen. It is beyond your comprehension. What you are trying to do is you are trying to outsmart intelligence itself. What you are trying to do is you are trying to put a finger on what intelligence will do in that moment of realization. Right now your ego is thinking that I am so smart that I can predict what intelligence will do. Do you see the game of the ego? That if I come to know that I am desire, then what will I do? You are so smart that you can outthink intelligence.
So suppose my desire say I want to have this, then
Let it be real. What is your desire right now?
so suppose say I
No,
want
not
to-
suppose.
then-
What is it?
I want to have this.
Know that.
So yeah, I'm knowing that, but the result will be either. I will
But then
go
you are
for it,
lying.
but
If
I
you
will-
really are desire, what did we say? We are nothing but the desire. Then you cannot ask this question. On one hand, you are saying, I want to have this. On the other hand, you are asking me a question. This is not possible. When you are desire, you are just.
Just desire.
Then there is no questioner. So you are still not being honest. The thing is just to stay with step 1 with deep honesty. What is it that I really am right now? What is it that I really am right now? That is sufficient.
possibly splitting between the thinking and the acting. That is, he wants to have it, but he is not putting his hand there to take it.
But even not to have it is a thought.
Thought.
So there is no split needed as such. He is just a thought. There is no split as such between thought and action. After all, action emanates from thought. So there is already a composite thought which says want to have but cannot have. So in reality, what is he? He is just a fellow.
Who's questioning?
No, not really questioning. He is a fellow who is majboor. So there is this thought which says want it but can't get it. And that is the honest answer. That is the honest answer. Getting that honest answer will not be easy. But at the same time, it's extremely simple.
The answer is always there. The lag comes when you have to really embrace it. Not so rotten.
It is there right now, present. It's extremely simple. It is so simple that you don't want to stick to step 1 and move on to step 2 and 3. That is extreme deception. Oh, step 1 is so simple. Let's move on to 2 and 3. Step 1 has not been completed. What's the point in hopping on to other steps? Stay with step 1. And if the mind is extremely inquisitive, very, very peppy, tell it, alright, complete step 1 nicely, then we'll go to step 2. The funny part is, if step 1 is actually completed nicely, there would be nobody to go to step 2. There would be nobody to, not no need. There would be nobody to step to go to.
Okay.
Finished. Stay to step 1. Who am I really? At this moment, who am I? Try to understand something. Whatever you can think of at this moment, that if I will do this, then what will I do? Will always come from your past. You want to generate some options, right? That suppose I do this, then what will I do? And you want to generate some options. Can you really generate a new option? All options that you generate will be the options that you have already seen in your past. You cannot think of something new. So there is no point to preempt as to what will happen in that moment. Never do that. And never entertain a question like this, that suppose I do this, then there are only 2 options. How do you know? How do you know? All options that you are talking of are ready-made, prefabricated options coming from your 20 years of experience. And you are so vain that you are thinking that that moment will be a replica of the past.
So that means it's only thinking and no action.
Try to demonstrate how there can be thinking but no action.
So like that I desire this.
But you don't act.
Means I am the desire.
Alright, desire something right now. Desired? See, there was great action. There was a great action right now. What was the action?
Smiling.
That he desired.
Thinking. Think.
He is sitting. Don't you see? He is sitting. Present continuous, running, walking. Why do you categorize only that as action? This is great action that I am sitting. there will be one thought that will make you move up to that wall, and then you will say, I am walking. There is another thought that is making you just keep sitting. So there is another action. Even to sit is an action. When you say there will be all thought but no action, the question itself is invalid. You are acting all the time. There is no movement when there is no action. You may sit very still. Even then there is action. What is action? Sitting calmly. Just as you are thinking all the time, similarly you are acting all the time.
So for us, action is just associated with movement.
Physical movement.
Physical movement.
That also includes lack of movement. Action also includes lack of movement.
When we say something is an action, we necessarily mean that it is.
Have you played that game in school? Who blinks first?
Yes.
Who would win that? So the one who didn't seem to act.
Yes.
But there is great action in this inaction.
Yes.
It appears that you are not acting, but you are making such a great effort to not to act, to not to blink. What may just appear like not acting is great action. Great action. Even in non-acting, the actor is present. Wherever the actor is present, action is happening.
Effort is always
The actor is sometimes deciding to show some movement. Sometimes the actor is deciding not to show some movement. An actor in a movie who for 2 minutes has a scene in which he is just lying dead, not acting at all. For 2 minutes, he is just lying dead, not acting at all. Will he not charge the producer for those 2 minutes? Will he not charge the producer for those 2 minutes? But then going by your logic, you can say, but there is no action. So what should I pay you for? You're still acting. It's your decision to not to act. You're still acting. And that decision is thought-driven, ego-driven. Even to keep sitting here is such a great action. You have thought of 1,000 things and then you are sitting here. It is great action.
So the actor and thought are synonymous.
The actor is the thought. Both are fake. The actor is the thought. That is what you call as karta bhav. Doership. Actor. I am the actor. I am the actor.
It says here, focus your attention to a point. You must not constantly change the focal point of your concentration. So that is also an action.
That is an action. That is very much
that
an
you're
action.
focusing
Yes,
on.
yes. That is very much an action within the realm of mind. Concentration.
So when you are meditating, you are actually acting
Obviously.
at that moment.
Obviously. Whenever you are meditating, that is as much of an action as walking, running, sleeping, eating, desiring. It would be a great illusion to think that meditation is not an action. Meditation is great action. It is just that it is a very, very deceptive action. So you may be deluded into thinking that I am not acting. That is the reason why you come across those bits, that the ones who meditate a lot actually become more and more egoistic.
So you mean breathing and life is action?
It is action, but not conscious action. You see, the same mind that brings thoughts, the same mind that is thoughts, is also the one that is regulating the breath. It is just that when there are thoughts, it is a little more conscious thing. It can be observed. Breath operates even when you are sleeping, even when, let's say, you are in a coma. So, not that much, but even that can be observed. In fact, observing the breath is again, as you know, a meditation technique, because observing the breath is not very different from observing the thought. So just as observing thoughts is a meditation technique, similarly observing breath is a meditation technique. Both are functions of the mind. The expanse of the mind is great. To quickly start thinking that I have come beyond the mind is extremely foolish. Do not get into that trap. There is nothing but the mind. Any supernatural experiences, paranormal experiences, metaphysical experiences that you have are all still very much within the mind, within conditioning, within time. Are you getting it? You will never be able to go beyond mind. Please, nobody. We are all entities within the mind. And do not quickly start claiming that I have had an experience, a para-mind experience. It only shows that the mind is so cunning that it is.
The mind, there is a conscious, subconscious, and unconscious. So, the conscious is just 25%. 50% is the subconscious, and then, as a psychologist. So, and the rest, which is unconscious, is 25%. So, even the unconscious thoughts, like what you are saying, is metaphysical and whatever, that could be a part of the unconscious mind, which you are not even conscious about.
And the knowledge that you have there in what you are calling as the unconscious mind is great. It's a great depository of knowledge. So if you someday come across something and you are suddenly reminded of something else, kindly do not think that there is some metaphysical event happening. It is just that you already had that knowledge, but were not consciously aware of having that knowledge. That knowledge has suddenly been brought to the surface. So you are thinking that, oh my God, this is coming from somewhere else. It is not coming from somewhere else. It is coming from very much within the mind. It was always there, but so deep that you are not aware. Just as, sometimes you have stuff in your home, but you forget that it is there. And then when you discover it, then you say, wow, was it there? I never knew that it is there.
That's why they say the mind is more powerful than the computers, they call it.
And everything
Can
is mind.
store and retrieve anything at any point in time.
There is nothing but the mind. There is nothing but the mind. Beyond the mind, whatever you have is just speculation. All your gods, this and that, Karan Sharir, Atman, all that is mere speculation. The only reality as far as we go is the mind. There is no other reality. And hence, who am I should be honestly answered in only terms of the mind. Simple, plain, direct, incisive honesty is sufficient.